Okay, let's talk about Lululemon. You know the brand? It basically built an empire on amazing quality and a following that's, well, almost cult-like. For years, it just seemed like they could do no wrong. But right now, the market is sending a really loud, really clear message that something is very, very wrong.
So let's get right into it. The stock has been absolutely hammered, down almost 40%, and that has everyone asking the billion-dollar question, is the magic gone? Is this the beginning of the end for Lululemon's reign? Or is this one of those rare chances to snap up a fantastic company at a massive discount?
So how do we even begin to answer that? Well, for a minute, we have to kind of push aside the brand's amazing reputation. Because if you look underneath the surface, the actual numbers are telling a much, much darker story.
And here it is. This is the number that has Wall Street completely spooked. Lululemon, a company practically defined by its explosive growth, has just slashed its full-year forecast. We're talking about going from the high double digits that everyone was used to, all the way down to a measly 2 to 4% growth. I mean, that's not a slowdown, that's hitting the brakes.
So what's actually causing all this panic? Well, it's time to put on our financial detective hats and just follow the data. Let's see where it leads us.
All right, this is it. This is the smoking gun. -4%. That's the drop in comparable sales right here in the Americas. Lululemon's home turf, its biggest market by far. For a brand like this, seeing any negative number is a shock, but seeing it in your core market, that's a massive red flag. But, and this is a huge but, here's the twist. While the US is shrinking, the international business is on an absolute tear. We're talking positive 15% growth. It's wild. It's like we're looking at two completely different companies rolled into one.
And this chart just paints the picture perfectly, doesn't it? You've got this shrinking business and its massive home market on one side, and then this rocket ship of growth overseas holding the whole thing up. The big question is, which one of these stories is going to win out in the end?
And this sales problem, it's hitting the bottom line and it's hitting it hard. Both gross and operating margins are getting squeezed. We're talking about a double whammy here. Partly from things they can't control, like a massive $240 million hit from new tariffs, but also from their own operational pressures.
And here's the next big worry. Their unsold inventory jumped 21%. They're now sitting on $1.7 billion worth of stuff. Now think about that. When your sales are slowing, but your warehouses are getting fuller, what's the next logical step? You got to start putting things on sale. And for a premium brand, discounts can be poison. So how's the market taking all this news? Well, it has completely changed its mind about what Lululemon is worth. The stock is now trading at a price-to-earnings ratio of about 13.5. Just look at its rivals. Nike's up there at almost 35, Adidas at nearly 26. The market is basically saying Lululemon is no longer a premium growth story. And, just to throw another log on the fire, there's this. The CEO himself sold off a big chunk of stock, over $6 million worth, right in the middle of this freefall. Now look, it could have been a pre-planned sale, for sure. But the timing, it just doesn't look great, and it's definitely something that makes investors pause.
Okay, I know, that all sounds pretty grim. But what if the market is just panicking and overreacting? So let's flip the script. Let's look at the bull case and see how this could actually be a massive comeback story in the making.
The whole argument for buying Lululemon right now really comes down to these three pillars. First, that international growth isn't just a fluke, it's a huge untapped runway. They have a goal to quadruple that business by 2026. Second, they're still innovating like crazy, pushing into menswear, footwear, new materials. And third, that dirt-cheap valuation we just talked about. For a best-in-class brand like this to be trading near a 5-year low, that could be a once-in-a-decade opportunity. But all right, before we get too excited and start buying, we have to look at the other side of the coin. There are some very real, very significant risks here that could totally derail that comeback story. This is the bear case.
So the bears are worried about two big things. First, have we hit peak Lululemon in North America? The competition is getting super intense, not just from brands like Alo Yoga, but from this whole dupe culture on social media with people finding cheaper lookalikes. And second, as the economy gets shakier, are people really going to keep shelling out premium prices for leggings? That's a huge, huge question mark.
So there you have it. We have a really strong bull case built on future growth and a cheap stock price. And we have a pretty scary bear case built on competition and a slowing economy. It's time to weigh all the evidence and figure out where we land.
When you lay it all out like this, you can really see the tug-of-war that's happening inside this company.
You've got these incredible strengths, that international growth, those amazing margins, and they're clashing head-on with these major risks, like the saturation here at home and those inventory problems. The entire investment decision comes down to which side you think is going to win this fight.
And so after all that analysis, the core thesis comes down to this. The market is being short-sighted. It's punishing the stock for today's issues in North America while pretty much ignoring the huge long-term potential brewing in its international, menswear, and footwear businesses. So for investors who are patient, the risk versus the potential reward starts to look really, really good.
And so the final verdict from our source material is a buy. Now, this is a medium confidence call. It's definitely not a sure thing, and it acknowledges those risks we talked about. And this isn't a get-rich-quick trade. It's an investment with a 12 to 24-month horizon, giving the company time for that long-term story to play out and get recognized by the market.
Which really leaves us with the ultimate question for the future, doesn't it? We all know Lululemon built its entire empire by creating this fierce, cult-like loyalty in women's wear. But now, its future growth depends on entirely new customers in new categories. So the real question is, can they catch lightning in a bottle twice? The answer to that? Well, that's going to determine everything.